And hello everybody, welcome back to Warframe. And say hello to Mag.
There is a large platoon of Grenier Marine stationed.
Just wait for Lewis to finish what she's saying. Cool, so
Grenier used to be builders, but now all they make is war.
cheers buddy. So, Mag. Mag is a little bit of an odd fish at the moment when it comes to Warframe. She's one of the 3 starter Warframes in the game. And she sort of falls into the role out of the initial starting things as sort of the control frame. She's got a lot of CC, she's got a lot of support the team kind of abilities. The problem is she's in a bit of an odd spot right now. And I'm hoping to sort of, discuss that while doing this little bit of a live commentary. Which, typically speaking, does not go well. You tend to get a bit distracted. We are on Saturn, because basically I tried sort of doing this recording on Sedna and found myself actually having to pay attention, because my Mag build is not phenomenal, I'll be genuinely honest. It's mainly here for demonstration purposes. So, what does Mag do? Now, Mag is a magnetic-themed Warframe, so she has a lot of abilities which are sort of electric-related, if that makes any sense. So we come to our abilities. So her big 3 is Pull, which is exactly what it says on the tin. Basically just, get over here, that enemy, straight towards us. Works on a cone, can hit multiple enemies, does a bit of damage. But what's awesome is it pretty much guarantees putting anything in the game on its arse if it can be knocked down, which is very useful. You have Magnetize, which is a damage amp ability. You create a bubble, and any shots fired into that bubble go to the center of the bubble with increased damage. We'll talk more about that at the end. I'm going to leave that till last. You have Polarize, which is a big energy wave that rolls across the entire map, and basically strips off shields, strips off armor, does a little bit of damage, and also buffs the shields of allies, as it were. Kind of the support ability. And then you've got Crush, which is her number 4, her ultimate, as it were, which is a sort of mixed CC damage ability. The best analog I can really think of is almost Oberon's ability. You pick enemy up, you deal them damage, and disrupt them. Not quite as good for Oberon in terms of the support ability. A little bit better in terms of damage, but sadly still kind of inferior to Rhino Stomp. But we'll get to it as we go through. So, we're going to be running Mag here, and we're actually going to be running through some weapons I'm leveling up. We're going to be running the Supra and also the Gram. Because, sometimes sometimes the style is more important than the efficiency of the weapon. But we're running the Supra for a very, very good reason, which will become apparent as we go through. So, let's just get started. Now, we'll start off with Pull. Now, what's awesome about Pull is it's basically speed of casting and the fact you can get away with things. So, there's some enemies. There's some enemies. They're now all over the place. You can pick them up, throw them around, and then they're on the ground. They're vulnerable to ground finishers. They can't attack you. And it doesn't matter what it is, just boom. There they are. They're on the other side of the map. Oh, hello. Get rid of you. Having fun. And you can actually see it's got a fairly wide arc. Now, again, the thing is, the enemies we're fighting here are relatively low level. We're talking level 23, and I'm not running a power build by any margin. I do have over 100% power. I'm actually running a power drift on the build. So, you're not going to really end worlds with this thing, even at max level. But you will make a mockery of enemies being able to really combat you. It's as much defensive as offensive. You basically just grab the enemy and get over here. And then you can do horrible things to them. It's nice in so much that because it's a number 1, it's very spammable. Very cheap and efficient. You can keep doing it to enemies, and on certain maps you can actually send them off cliffs and things. Oh nice, Malicious Raptor. Send them off cliffs, everything like that. Great fun. And there isn't really much more to say about it, to be honest. It's probably my second favourite ability on Mag. I think second most useful. Mainly because of its ease of cast, the ability to sort of pull it out whenever. It's just like, there we are, hello. Oh. Got us while we're knocked down, that's fine. And you can just really deal lots of damage to enemies. You put them on the ground and then hit them with a big melee weapon. Claw weapons in particular are good for this, so if you've got something like the Venka, or... oh god, I can't remember the name of the chainsaw ones. You know what I mean. claw weapons that do multiple strikes on a ground kill, go for finisher damage. You can actually get pretty lethal combo out of that. So what about our other abilities? Let's talk about number 3, Polarize. So Polarize is one of the more interesting abilities. Now I think it might actually kill enemies at this level, which is a little rubbish. Because it actually means it's probably going to kill most of the map as it rolls out there. It's basically this big, slow-moving wave, which does have a minimum start distance, but it rolls out, and you can see it is actually hitting enemies as it goes. It will weaken armor, remove damage shields. There we go. Weaken armor, remove down shields, and generally, you know, just act as a big sort of crowd thing. Yeah, see, it actually didn't hit these. Oh, it did hit these guys. There we go, just getting them out of our hair. This ability is great low level, because it hits lots and lots of things, does low damage, but isn't really an issue at this point. And it's very, very spammable. So it's great at this low level. The problem is the skill doesn't scale up. If you have a look at... go back to abilities. If we have a look at Polarize. This is it, like, you know, leveled out. It's at rank 3. It's level 30 frame. We're only doing 460 damage, which isn't great. So you can kind of sort of see where the issues are coming in here. Now, what is cool is that you can actually sort of buff up the duration and range by mainly just buffing up the duration. It takes essentially 10 seconds for me to cast this as it rolls out, and it just keeps going and going and going, which is fine. There is some synergy with Polarize involving things like Magnetize, but it's not something you can really make work all that often. We'll explain a bit more when we get to Magnetize. So, again, yeah, so let's talk about number 4. Let's talk about Crush. Find some enemies. Hi guys. Ooh, an Xmas, perfect. So Crush. So with Crush, you hit number 4. You pick up all the enemies nearby, and you hit them for damage like that. Now, oh great, it was a Leech Xmas. We probably should have done more to kill this guy. There you go. So as you can see, it picked up the enemies, dealt damage to them, then knocked them down. And that was kind of it. And while we were casting it, see, I'm gonna have to find some more energy now. Just generically kill some enemies here. We'll find some energy as we go here. I'm highly surprised if we don't. There we go, got 50 energy. Okay, we're locked in, that's fine. So, the big issue with Crush... Oh, there's some more down there. Here we go. The big issue with Crush is really the casting time. So, we've got our enemy, we've got our trooper, who our attack's on is keeping nice and chilled. You hit 4. 1, 2, 3. And he's not dead. This is a level 20 enemy. There we go. So, this is really where the big issue with Crush comes in. It's a big 1, 2, 3 to cast it. Oh, hey. It's a Hellion. There we go. Really? And because it's like 1, 2, 3. I mean, enemies within range is fine. It picks them all up. They can't attack you. They go down. But enemies beyond that range, for example, if you're in a big open area like this and you've got ballistas, say, you know, up over there, down in the section over there, they can still shoot at you and you are mobile. You can't move. And when you think about some other things, for example, like a rampart, if you're not able to move in front of a rampart, you're dead. Other maps, such as, you know, if you go to like Sedna level or the Kuva Fortress, where these things are so much more powerful, it kinda sucks. So, along that line then, what is good about Mag? And we've got another guy over here somewhere. Here we go. What is good about Mag is our number 2, Magnetize. Boom. So, there he's dead. So what Magnetize is this big bubble, in my case pink, for style. And basically any shots fired into the bubble, so let's fire in this corner, you can sort of see, pink on pink isn't ideal, but you can make it out, all the shots are being pulled to the center of the bubble. Enemies, while they're in here, are also pulled to the center. So it works a little bit like Vauban's black hole, but not as quick. And it pulls everyone into the center, then any shots fired from any direction will go straight to whoever's in the middle, which is really handy. On top of that, back to our abilities page. Abilities page, here we go. You can see here, under Polarize, there's a damage multiplier. So all attacks into the bubble are multiplied by 2.3 in terms of damage. So it's just a flat buff for raw damage. Now you'll also see it has explosion damage, explosion radius, and damage absorption. So the other cool thing about Mag's bubble, let's see if we can, let's get out of this room. Quickly. The other cool thing about the bubble is that it saves up a portion of all the damage dealt to it over its entire time span. So let's get rid of that arc trap. Let's see if we can find ourselves a little group of. That was clever. One moment while I should go on a quest to find more energy again. So we're taking our time with this because, you know. Here we go. Find someone here. Nope, that's health. That's affinity. Not unwelcome, but. Yeah, here we go. Right, we've got a few enemies. So one of these guys will drop some. Oh! No. No rampart for you. And to you. And stop it. Yeah, there's probably ramparts. This is actually turning a bit hairy. We've got some energy. Right, okay. As soon as we've got some energy, we'll take advantage of it. Oh, until everyone's dead. Ah, here we go. Right, so we've got some enemies over there. So, bubble. So the bubble does do some damage over time and things, but mainly enemies that are shooting, their bolts are also being pulled into the middle. And you sort of see our dude there. You see he's just being pulled into the center. Now, if I aim... Ooh, yeah, now enemies can run out of the bubble, should be said. It does pull them in, but it isn't like a beyond walking pace pull. So, let's move over. Now, you saw there that we did some damage to the bubble, and I'll shoot it more. There we go. Now, the bubble collapses, and then there's an explosion. So, a portion of all the damage that was dealt to the bubble gets put out in that explosion. So, in sort of hordy circumstances, think sort of... Oh, here we go. Group of enemies. Start shooting at the center of the bubble. So we're just powering this up. Now see, the enemies are shooting this bubble as well. Let's just get them over here. Now, when this collapses in a few seconds, so we're going to hold our fire, because they can't hit us, we can't hit them while we're in this circumstance. Now the bubble's collapsing. Watch our enemy. Explodes and dies. So, they sort of become this weird combination of shield and mine and just general ability. So, let's shoot the scorpion. Here we are. We've hit the scorpion. Kill the scorpion. Now we'll stand in the bubble. Get rid of this guy. So, what is hitting us? So while we're behind the bubble, but away from the center, so you can see here, they're shooting at us. All their shots are getting pulled to the center of the bubble, so you can kind of use it like a bit like a frost bubble temporarily. Downside, you yourself can't shoot out of it, because you can see all my bullets are spinning around in the center here. When this bubble goes off, and an explosion. And it doesn't take your damage alone, it also takes your enemy's damage. If you stand in the wrong spot in the bubble, you can still get hit from enemy attacks, so bubble it up. Get rid of these guys over here. So, if we stand in the wrong place in the bubble, they can still hit us for damage. If we stand outside the bubble, then no, we're absolutely fine. I'm going to show off to the side though. And then we can just start piling damage into the bubble. Curve it around, shoot around corners, all that kind of fun stuff. And the great thing about these mag bubbles is it's not just a case of having one, you can actually cast as many of them as you can hit enemies with. I think it's up to a maximum of 4. There we go, we put down our bubble. That's fine. I'm pretty sure there's an enemy up here. Well, doesn't matter. So just... Huh. Is he sort of wedged himself in behind it? Yeah, he's actually behind the bubble, so we'll put our bubble on top of him. So now he's actually starting to hit himself for damage, and then this bubble will go off, kill him, and now that bubble stays there. It's all fairly straightforward once you just get your head around what it does, and it is one of the more powerful abilities. It is the most powerful ability. Let's be honest, it's the most powerful ability Mag has. You can block down corridors with it. You can, layer on objective points. All of these kind of things, and it will pull enemies. So let's do it this way. There we go. And we'll get rid of you. There we go. Enemies that are sort of in the bubble will get pulled into it, and you can sort of see here my little attacks on. He's trying to shoot things, but it's getting pulled to the center of what we're standing in. So you can use it as a way of sort of barricading, blocking down damage and things. There is a downside. These enemies who are staying at the back here, I can't actually. Really? I can't actually hit them right now while that bubble's in place. However, I can put up the bubble and start shooting into it. And the enemies in the bubble are dead. So, this is really the big part of it with Mag. Now, you can pull enemies into the bubble, which then makes it easier to mess with them. So there is some synergy between, hitting things in the bubble, firing lots of shots in. Ooh, ow. Where'd he go? Sonic Drax. Putting down the bubble, pulling enemies into the bubble, all that kind of thing. Now, other thing of note for this arc trap. One of the reasons that I'm using the Supra, other than letting you see the bullet trails, because with other weapons, because the Supra and like the Dera, the plasma weapons, tend to shoot a projectile, the projectile kind of keeps going inside the bubble. There's a very, very good video by Noob Shadow Tech, I think, where they actually demonstrate some of the exploits you can do with this ability and some of the, I would say, better weapons for the effect. I mean, I quite like using the Super because I like having something Daka, but weapons like the Lanka or the Mitre, these weapons that fire sort of long-form projectiles. Now, but if we find ourselves in a good spot, I'll sort of try and demonstrate it. No, get into the open. Fine. Just try and find some enemies in a more open area. This will do. Just quickly clean up these guys. Right, so we've got this, there, a Power Fist, so he'll do as a demonstration. So we'll hit him with the bubble. Now, we'll kill him with the bubble. Is he dead? Yeah, he's dead and standing. So, what we can do... This is actually one of the downsides, because there's a body in here. Okay, here we go. So we've got the bubble. Now, if I shoot into the bubble, we'll empty most of our clip into this. You can see these projectiles keep going in this rather pretty pattern. As a consequence, you can sort of preload these bubbles with damage, as long as you've got punch through on your weapons. I've only got a shred on this, hence why when that body was there, I wasn't really achieving much. Because the body was actually blocking the shot, because I've just got a shred. Because I wanted more damage. So put out the bubble, shoot into the bubble, and you get lots and lots of spinny orbs inside the bubble. The problem is it will hit sort of terrain things, so it only really works on the open bubbles, the ones that aren't really like near anything. But you can put in your projectiles and they'll keep going, like this. And any enemies that hit the bubble will then be hit by that. And if you've got lots of enemies in the bubble, and you're using something like a Lanka, which has a huge amount, 5-meter punch through, you can basically just keep it going and going and going and going and going. It's actually very, very impressive. I'll see if I can put the link for the video in the bottom. Bombard. Should be said, the Meg Bubble does work on Bombard rockets. They get pulled in and get sent to the center, hence why our friend here is not shooting anymore. So, you see there, sort of getting pulled into the middle, and you can open up and you can sort of see the gravity effect there as they're getting pulled back in. Now you can you know, magnetize and polarize, which is one of the things that sort of mentioned. So let's see if we can find a couple of enemies. We'll try and use that little. I think we've got enough energy to do that little combo. So magnetize and polarize. It does a little bit more damage because it gets affected by the damage multiplier. And you can see here now you've got these little swirly bits. When you do the polarize, armor and stuff goes into the bubbles and makes the actual damage over time effect of the bubbles a bit more powerful. It's a little awkward to really get off, but you can combo it together and... Oh, bubble must have collapsed. And you can get an idea of sort of how it all goes together and works. So yeah, so this has been mainly an audio test, I'll be genuinely honest, but also a overview of Mag and her abilities and why she's kind of fun. But also some of her weaknesses and foibles. So that's really just been what we're trying to do today. So until next time, folks, toodles, have fun, and enjoy yourselves.
Mission complete. Excellent work, Tenno.